Hey, thanks for joining me, guys. And today we're checking out Amazon's new MMORPG entitled New World. I'm really excited to check this one out with you, so let's jump right in. And, hold on a second. What the fuck? New World is a third-person, massive online multiplayer RPG game where you arrive shipwrecked on the shores of the island Ethereum to find your captain dead to an evil corruption that curses the land. You've come here in hopes of understanding a mysterious substance called Azoth that's said to have the power of eternal life, among other supernatural things. You've come here to understand Azoth and master it, all while surviving, growing your abilities, and uncovering the mysteries of this new world. So I've spent around 15 hours in the game, guys, leveling up my character to 18 so far, and have gone with an intelligence-based spellcaster with focus as a secondary, which basically boosts your mana regen and such. There's 3 factions in the game you can align yourself with, and you have the option of playing with PvP turned on or off. And there's a lot to talk about here, guys. So, what do I think? Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag, so let's start with the good stuff. And the first thing I want to cover is just the overall experience I have being in the game's world. And every time I want to touch on this aspect that I love about it, the word that comes to mind is vibe. It's beautiful and detailed as you're running through its world. Now, when you zoom in, you're not going to get high fidelity textures and a sense of realism in the game. That's not what they're going for here. It's definitely more of a cartoony look that's very colorful. And this normally isn't what I prefer, but guys, it is just so damn beautiful sometimes and just catches that vibe. Think of Sea of Thieves when the sun is setting and you're out sailing the seas, or heading back to camp at night in Valheim. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's complemented by a few things in the game that really boost this as well. Firstly, the day and night cycle in the game is awesome. It takes a while to get through the day and night, which is really cool because the sunsets and the sunrises in the game last for a while, and you just get to run around in this world where you have some beautiful lighting and volumetric fog effects. Now, I've turned down the brightness and contrast a little bit in mine just to try and capture more of a realistic look. So what you see on the screen is going to be a little bit darker if you're watching somebody else who's just left everything on default. But yo, it is beautiful. And the other thing that boosts this vibe experience that I have in the game is the incredible music. If you time traveled back to the 17th century and played the music in this game, for those people, yo, they would be in tears. They'd probably think they were high. I mean, it would be a spiritual, moving experience, okay? The music in the game is absolutely incredible. In fact, I decided to play it under this video so you could hear it as I talk about the game, just so you can get a sense of how good it is and how it might contribute to this incredible vibe that I have in it. There's also some really good sound quality and voice acting in the game. Hearing somebody chopping a tree down across a field, or someone popping off a musket on the other side of a hill, it is really, really good. I'm also really enjoying some of the RPG elements like leveling up and specializing my character and weapons. There's a lot of skills that you can invest in, and some cool crafting and inventory management that's really fun. The sense of investing and developing your character is real and is very cool. For the most part, Some things I am really mixed on because the game will likely force you to do some shit that you don't enjoy and will take a lot of time. But again, I'll save that for the cons. In general though, building up your character does feel really good in the game, especially when you get some experience behind you and can actually explore out into the world and just get things done. The last thing I'm really enjoying about the game is its PvP, which is really exciting, especially in a group. Now, like I mentioned, the PvP is optional, so you can play through the entire game without ever taking part in it. If you do, however, there's a few different elements in which you can take part. Firstly, you can have one-on-one duels with other players in the game, and this has been a really good way for me to learn other weapons that I'm not focusing on, their attacks, and what the timing is like. The other major PvP element is controlling certain areas of the map by capturing forts located on them. You can sign up on the war board to go to battle with your faction and try to take it over from another faction who's controlling it. And once you do, you get certain perks such as trade perks or discounts on taxes or even XP boosts while you're in the area. And with all those positives combined, you guys, I have had some pretty damn good fun in the game. With that said, there are quite a number of things that I am not enjoying and that are just straight up issues. So let's cover some of the cons. First up, the queue times getting into the game have been a nightmare. Amazon is fully aware of this problem and does plan on adding new servers, and I'm sure as time goes by, player count might die down a little bit, opening up things, but man, this has been a real problem where I've had to sit for maybe a half an hour to even an hour at times just to get into a server. Since the game's launch, I'm definitely able to get in faster than I was compared to the first week it came out, but it's definitely an issue that needs to get addressed sooner than later. The other issue that I've experienced from a technical perspective is just the overall performance that fluctuates quite a bit. When you're out in the world running around or on a mission, it's not so bad, but whenever you get into the towns where there's a lot of other players, I've had some atrocious dips in frames, you guys, like sub 20, which has been horrible. Outside of those two things, there really hasn't been any game-breaking bugs that I've experienced, no crashing or anything like that. So overall, Amazon's done a pretty good job here. And from what I've read online, other bugs have been getting addressed that people have been experiencing. All right, so with the technical shit out of the way, let's rap a little bit about what I actually don't like about the game. And the first thing, the backtracking in the game is horrible. And the missions that you get sent out on are often duplicate missions where you get sent to the same spot to do the same shit. And it is obnoxious, you guys. It doesn't matter if it's a main quest or a faction mission, you'll oftentimes get sent running for 20 minutes or more in one direction. And when you get there, you might have to run 20 minutes in another direction to go do something else, and then 20 minutes back. And if you do it any faster and it's under 60 minutes, you can't fast travel to get back anywhere else. I actually don't mind the time limit on fast traveling, but what I want is for the missions that I go on to actually be cool. And that's a big problem in this game, you guys. The main quests and the faction missions will oftentimes send you out to do some of the lamest missions where I have to go kill and skin some wolves or loot some chests where maybe I have to fight a few guys. It is a mind-numbing and frustrating grind that gets boring really quick. Within the 15 hours that I've spent in the game, 90% of that time has been just running around in its world, which thankfully does get saved by its cool vibe, but guys, the missions that you go on just aren't that cool. It doesn't help that the combat is super mediocre as well. Firstly, the enemies in the game are ultra basic. You can quickly learn all their attacks and they can easily be dodged. And on your character side, you really don't get that many different attacks or spells that you can use depending on what weapons you have equipped. It was definitely fun at first when I was initially unlocking the abilities for each weapon, but it's gotten pretty stale after 15 hours, guys, and I don't see it getting any better 100 from now. It also really doesn't help that the story totally flatlines once you're past the first few hours of the game. Maybe there's a really long payoff here, but if you're looking for something super engaging with rich characters and a world full of interesting lore to find while exploring, you're unfortunately not gonna find that here. There are things to find in the world, and I've read almost every note and journal and document I've found, but most of it just isn't that great. With all that said, this is just a first impressions, guys. I'm probably not going to do a full review of the game, but I did want to jump in here and share with you what my experience has been like. And I've been asked a couple times to give it a score so far, and at this point, I would give it a strong 3 out of 5. There's a lot of things I'm really enjoying about it, despite some of the big problems that I have with the game. And I think that speaks to something unique about New World. There's a lot of different elements and aspects that one gamer might loathe and another one might totally love. That's been my experience for sure, and fortunately, the things that I do enjoy have been rewarding enough to want me to come back and play more. New World is a big time commitment that asks a lot from its players by requiring you to do some pretty boring shit a lot of the time, but it has a lot of potential to mature and eventually be something great. For now, I'd say hold off until the price drops, the issues are fixed, and there's more content available if you're on the fence about picking it up. If, however, you're a diehard MMO lover who's just drawn to these games, then you might find a comfortable home here. All right, that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me and checking out New World today. I hope my experience in the game and this video has helped you understand what New World is and if it's worth your time and money. Please give me a like below if you enjoyed the video. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe and bell button to join me for all my future game reviews and gaming content. And I will see you on the next Grim's Garage.